I close this chapter out by talking about how to combine and take apart or separate shapes to make different shapes. So we're going to combine and separate. Shapes. Okay, for instance, if I have two right triangles that are the same size, I think those are the right. If I put those together, I can end up with a square. You guys have done this with your tangrams. So I can combine these two right triangles and put them together to make a square. So I have combined two triangles to make one square. I could start off with my square, fold it in half, and separate it to make two triangles. I have some figures that I have drawn here. And let's see what we can do to these figures to separate them. First, I have a hexagon. If I separate it here, I will have two trapezoids. Oops, I wish I wouldn't get rid of my hexagon. If I, let's see if I can draw that back. It's not real good, but we can deal with it. All right. So I can separate it in half and get two trapezoids. I can, what if I drew diagonals? Okay. If I drew diagonals, I could get 6 triangles. I could separate this hexagon into 6 triangles. Let's look at this one. I could draw a diagonal here, and I could separate this into a triangle and a rectangle. A triangle and a rectangle. Or I could also draw a diagonal there and separate it into 3 triangles. Or if I wanted to draw a diagonal there, and that gives me 5 triangles. And the last one, well, I could look at this and I could draw a square or a rectangle. I could get a rectangle and 4 triangles just by drawing diagonals to my vertices. So a way to separate your shapes or your figures is to, from one vertex to another vertex that is not next to it. Let's say I had this figure. Okay, I wanted to separate this figure. Well, I could draw my diagonal here, and I would have a triangle, and then I would have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-sided figure, or a pentagon. So this would be a pentagon. I could put a pentagon together with a triangle and make this arrow. So that's how I could separate it or combine it. We also did that with pattern pieces where you would put them together and combine them and separate them. So again, the best thing to do is to draw diagonals. If I took that out and drew a diagonal, let's say from here to here, okay, I would have two shapes, and what would they be? Let's see if I can figure that one out. Whoops. Alright, so if I draw from here to here, I'd have a 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like I'd have two parallelograms, doesn't it? One on top of the other. So you could have two parallelograms. Again, diagonals. That was one diagonal. Here was another way you could draw the diagonal. Okay, I think we're ready for a test.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.